Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, folks. Welcome to That VidBlaster Guy. I'm Tom Sinclair, your host for the show. I was going to say your host for the show today, but I guess I'm your host for the show every day. But I'm really delighted to bring the show to you today. VidBlaster is such cool software. It really is. To be able to sit down in your study or in a back room or in a press box or in your church or wherever and take your message all over the world for, golly, 5 good nights out on the town, and you can do it. It just never ceases to amaze me. As a VidBlaster reseller, I work with folks all the time that are trying to get their message out, and sometimes struggling, sometimes doing it easily, but trying to figure out how to make it all work, and it's just a ton of fun for me as a reseller. Want to remind you right off the bat that February is VidBlaster giveaway month. So coming up a little later in the broadcast, we'll talk about how you can win a home edition of VidBlaster, and that's going to really be fun. I've got a kind of a wacky tutorial for you today. I made up a little. I got to admit, this was really fun and silly. I made up an ad about the VidBlaster contest, and it's kind of weird, and I had fun doing it. And then after I got through doing it, I realized, hey, this might be something that people would be interested in doing themselves. And it was not complicated, but it was like Legos. You put the Legos together and you can make all sorts of creatures and critters and cars. And so that's what I did. I used the VidBlaster building blocks, the modules, to create something, and then I realized I wanted to show you how to do it because it was so much fun. And one of the other things that we're going to do today is probably talk about the VidBlaster VVD, the virtual video device, and talk about the different ways to do that, because Yana Kala was really helpful and instructive to me in helping me understand some things that have changed the way I do the show. And if you're doing a show similar to this one, you might enjoy knowing those tips and tricks. So, let's see, what are we going to do next? We are going to, I'm going to just run a regular old video ad. So let's see if we've got that queued up right, and we'll give it a shot. Let's see. Hi, I'm Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. One of the reasons why I started the show, That VidBlaster Guy, is so that I could show off the power and the ease of use of my favorite software, VidBlaster. Every week we do a live show that talks all about VidBlaster, and we have guests on that show how they're using VidBlaster and how they couldn't do what they're doing without VidBlaster. Anyway, you know the routine. The other reason why I started the show is because I'm a VidBlaster reseller. I want people, when they buy VidBlaster, to buy it from me. That way you get personal support from me, Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. You get my cell phone number. You get my email address. If you're in a jam and you need an answer, you've got somebody to call. Call me, Tom Sinclair. You can get VidBlaster from my website, thatvidblasterguy.com. There's a store there. Just click on the link and you can get VidBlaster, get a license to VidBlaster. If you need to upgrade, let's say you've got the Home Edition, you want to upgrade to the Pro Edition, you get 100% credit for the Home Edition that you already own towards your purchase of the Pro Edition, but it does have to be handled manually. So shoot me an email, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com, and we'll get that in the works for you. If you need great support for great software, call me, Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. And also, watch us on Tuesdays on the That VidBlaster Guy show. Okay, so that was a shameless plug. Sorry about that, but I had it in the show notes that I wanted to do it. I'm really stoked about the VidBlaster giveaway contest, and wanted to show you the ad that I did for that earlier today. Now, I will say that this uses a virtual set that was provided to me by Dr. Charles Campbell. And so we've adapted that for a slightly different purpose. And let's see, let's get this one queued up, and away we go. Hi, I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy. Me too. We're here to announce the contest. What contest? The VidBlaster giveaway contest, of course. Oh, that contest. Yes, that contest. At the end of February, well, really our first show in March, we'll be giving away the home edition of VidBlaster absolutely free, or a $195 credit towards an upgrade. Right. To enter, you'll need to produce a video showing a really creative way to use VidBlaster, or a really cool show or broadcast idea using VidBlaster, of course. Send us a link to your recorded video, and we'll have our judges take a look. We'll announce the winners on our March 5th show. So don't waste time. Get your entry in today. Send a link to your entry to tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. Good luck. That's right, good luck. Now back to the show as it was. I mean, I sat here in the studio and I laughed at myself. I had the most fun putting that together. And, you know, there's nothing like telling a joke that you know all the ins and the outs of. I mean, the raise of the eyebrow, the whole thing, and sharing that with yourself. Because, you know, who can better appreciate your own joke than yourself? I mean, that was just great. Anyway, that was just lots of fun. And I made a video to go with that, basically a tutorial of how I did it. And so let me find that and cue that up. And I thought I had it queued up, but I didn't. So sorry about that. You know, that's one of the things about doing a live show, or in my case, doing any kind of show, is that sometimes you're just well prepared and sometimes you're not. VP guy. Where did we put that? Oh, there it is, right there where it's supposed to be. All right, you ready? Let's have a look at this and see what we got. Hi, this is Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy, with kind of a crazy tutorial / demo. I did a video earlier showing essentially sort of a side-by-side conversation with myself, me here and me here. And I wanted to show you how I do it. It's basically the announcement for our VidBlaster contest giveaway for February 2013. So check out our website if you want more details on that. That's www.thatvidblasterguy.com. But starting with the default profile here, let me put me in the big screen so you can see. There I am. Hey, guys. And what I want to do first off is maximize this so that I've got plenty of room to put everything. And I'm going to take the program module and I'm going to pull it over here to the right. And I'm going to enable the audio device. And let's see, I don't need the streamer, so we're going to get rid of that so we've got a little bit more real estate there. And I want to change the video resolution to my standard video resolution, which is 864 by 480. Whoops, looks like we lost audio on this. Hold on, folks. You know what? I only previewed the first couple of minutes of that video, and looks like it may have lost its audio at some point along the way. So let me cue it back to where it was when we lost it, and I'll narrate it as best I can. How about that? Oh, never seen that before. Let's see. So I'm going to add some modules. I'm going to add some video effect modules. Actually, no, okay, I just added a camera module because I wanted to get the regular cam in, my Logitech C920. So that's the cam that you're seeing me on right there. It's a little higher resolution cam, I think, and does a better job than the Microsoft cam that I was on. And I'm moving some modules around just to make it easy and keep things organized. And then I'm going to add a video effect module. And I'm going to drag it down, and I'm going to line those up one after the other. And the video effect module has the ability to do picture-in-picture. It has the ability to do chroma key. It has the ability to take a regular picture, a regular video, and overlay something on it and have that together all in one shot. It's probably at least at this point, it's the most versatile and most powerful building block you've got with VidBlaster. And I'm doing 6 of those things. So that's 2, 4, 5. Here comes number 6. And then I'm going to add a couple of a player module. And I'm going to add well, I guess that's all I need to add, at least at this point. I think I add another one a little later on. And so I'm going to load up some of these modules. And I think I'm going to start, come on, cursor, get moving there. There we go. I'm going to go to the Player 3 module, and I'm going to open that, and I'm going to put in it a graphic, a JPEG. And this will be a JPEG, which is the backdrop. You can see, I'm going to click on it there, make it full screen. There it is, the backdrop to the news set. And that's just a JPEG, nothing fancy about that. And then I'm going to go over to the video overlay module, and I'm going to lay in a PNG file. So it's got an alpha layer to it, and that PNG file will be the desk that appears in front of the JPEG. So now you have the 2 parts to that particular virtual set. So we're just kind of getting that set ready. Now we're going to load up. What are we loading up here? We're going to have to find it. Oh, we're loading up a green screen. So player 2 in this case is going to have a green screen in it that will be the backdrop for some of the picture-in-pictures that we're going to use for just a second. Player 1 we're going to come back to in just a minute, because that's where we're going to play one of the videos that we're going to record. That's going to be Tom number 1. And so this is going to be a picture-in-picture. It's going to use player 2, which is the green, as the background. And it's going to use camera 2, which is the main camera right there, as the PIP. And we're going to drag that one over to the right. So this is going to be guy, no, it's going to be the right guy. Now we're going to set up this picture-in-picture as a chroma key. And we're going to set it up with virtual effect number, I think that was number 3, and virtual effect number 5. And those will make more sense in just a second when those get loaded. Here's virtual effect number 3. It's a picture-in-picture, and we're doing the same thing that we did with the first one, except this becomes the left guy. And you see he appears in the screen now in the chroma key. So we're going to go back to video effect number 4, set it up with chroma key, and we'll let video effect number 2 be our first one. That's the black one over there. And then player 3 will be the background. And that'll become a little bit more apparent in just a minute when we get that ready. I got a little confused at this point, and I tried to move things around, and then I realized there really was, my notes were really accurate. So we're going to go to virtual effect module number 5. We're going to set it up as a picture-in-picture with player 2 as the first source and camera 2 as the second source. There we go. So now we've got 2 guys side by side, and I can draw him out to the right. and put a desk in front. Now, obviously, my aspect ratios, these guys are way too big. So we'll come back and fix that in a second. So video effect number 6 is actually going to be a source overlay. So I can take any shot. In this case, it's going to be video effect number 4. And I can overlay it, source overlay, with video effect number 1, which is the desk. So now we can see our shots built, and I've pulled back a little bit from the camera. And so I'm about the right size at that point. So that's the basic set. Yeah, let's get me straightened out, up and down. And find the other guy. There he is. Okay. And we'll kind of get those guys set where they need to be. Get the right distance from the camera so we're right. Now, I need to record half of what we're saying. And boy, I wish the audio was working right at this point, because this was just so much fun. So I'm going to record myself. I'm adding a recorder module. And I'm going to record myself with half of the conversation. So you'll see the recorder module flash live. And now there's half of the conversation. Whoops, I turned the wrong direction. I got to turn the other direction. Oh, there we go. That's the right direction. Now I'm talking to the right guy. And I can engage in half of a conversation. And then I'll save it. And I think in this case I named it fun. And believe it or not, I forgot to turn the audio up on that one. So we'll play it back in just a second, and it won't work because there's no audio to it. So you'll see a really confused look on my face. But let that be a lesson to you. You know, anybody can screw up anytime. So we're going to put the... looks like I'm doing a little housekeeping here to make sure I've got everybody where they're supposed to be. Get those guys, the two different guys, side by side. Oops, nope, that's not the right one. Come get that one. There you go. That's the one you want. There you go. Now you can see they're two separate images. One of them is actually me. Well, they're both me, but one of them's the live me in this recorded video, and the other one is the... I'm having trouble figuring out which module to move. No, it's the bottom left one. Try again. There you go. Right there. That's the one you want. Oh, no, that wasn't it. Oh, my. Okay. Now I think it's... yeah, boy, it's not like the shell game right here. Trying to figure out which module is the module. Okay. Now I'm realizing I don't have any audio because I forgot to... What I forgot to do, and boy, what a rookie mistake, is I forgot to take the audio module, you see me right there, and basically turn it up. I didn't have any audio. So I'm going to go through and double check all my audios, but there's still no audio in this video. So we go back through it again, and we build it. And, you know, there's really no point in seeing the rest of this because there's no audio with it. What a disappointment. I am so sorry. But what a great lesson to me and to everybody else is, you know, here I set up this tutorial, runs about 13 minutes, and I checked the first, I don't know, 20 seconds of it to see if the audio was good and to see if the color is good and you know, and just make sure it was going to work. And after 20 seconds, it worked. So I said, great, it's done. And we'll go back and use it. And as it turned out, something happened. Probably, yeah, I don't know. Something happened somewhere to the audio on that one. I'll have to go back and troubleshoot and see. But you get the basic idea. And I imagine there would be lots of creative ways to use this, probably more in a recorded situation than in a live situation. And as you can tell now that you've seen it, let's go ahead and run it back one more time just for fun. And we're going to have to locate it on the file. There it is, contest promo. And let's take another look at it. Hi, I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy. Me too. We're here to announce the contest. What contest? The VidBlaster giveaway contest, of course. Oh, that contest. Yes, that contest. At the end of February, well, really our first show in March, we'll be giving away the home edition of VidBlaster absolutely free, or a $195 credit towards an upgrade. Right. To enter, you'll need to produce a video showing a really creative way to use VidBlaster, or a really cool show or broadcast idea using VidBlaster, of course. Send us a link to your recorded video, and we'll have our judges take a look. We'll announce the winners on our March 5th show. So don't waste time. Get your entry in today. Send a link to your entry to tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. Good luck. That's right, good luck. Now back to the show. The show as it was. The show as it was. So, I'm hoping that will be a great example of how to use VidBlaster in sort of a creative way to show what you can do. I mean, show me what you can do with VidBlaster by playing with some of the modules. Somebody in the chat room is saying if I'd put green cloth on my desk in front of me that I could have put my hands on it. That's a great idea. I've had my son who is dressed up in an all green cloak of some kind, so he was invisible and he would stick his hand out through the chroma key. So that would be a lot of fun. Chroma key is a great example of creative use for VidBlaster. If you wanted to take versions of yourself and put them on a clock dial, an analog clock dial, and you could count down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just a way to be really creative in the use of VidBlaster. And it doesn't have to be long. It can be 30 seconds, it can be 2 minutes. But it shows that you're really, somebody in the chat room says, hey, I was going to do the clock idea. But it shows that you're beginning to think about how the modules interact and how to use them. Think about it like a toolbox. I can give somebody a toolbox that has a pair of pliers and a screwdriver and a hammer and, whatever the other basic tools are, and they can do minor repairs, or I can give those same exact tools to somebody that is a craftsman, and he can build me a boat. It's all in how you think about how to use the tools. And the one thing that I've learned about VidBlaster is that the more you use the tools, the more you understand how they work and how they work together, and so you can put the building blocks together in lots of different ways. And that is the real joy of VidBlaster is the ability to use building blocks. I was talking with somebody the other day about VidBlaster versus Wirecast, another program. And I noted, VidBlaster really thinks like I think. The modules are all out there where you can see them, and you don't have to wonder where something is unless you've intentionally hit it. You can leave it all out on the desktop. If you look at my desk, my real desk, my office desk, you can see that I'm somebody that believes in stacks. I've got stacks of everything. I want it out where I can see it, because if I can't see it, it's not in my active memory and my active thought process. So that's one of the reasons I think that VidBlaster was designed with the actual visual modules out there where everybody can see them and use them, and it's just simple as point and click to turn them on. It's a lot of fun. Let me go back to my show notes here and and see what we've got next. Yeah, there we go. One of the problems that I've had on this show in the past, and I didn't really understand it, and frankly didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it until last week, was that sometimes the live stream itself would suddenly go from a good aspect ratio into an expanded, stretched aspect ratio. And that was only happening on the live stream. It wasn't happening in the recording. And it wasn't happening. And then sometimes it would happen with my Skype guest on Skype, but not in the live stream. And sometimes it would happen both at the same times. And I didn't really understand it until my friend Yana Akala happened to mention something about the virtual video device, which is what I use. The virtual video device is part of the video out module, which is available in the Pro, the Studio, and the broadcast versions of VidBlaster. It's not available in the home version. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But the video out module, one of the options in the video out module is for VidBlaster to send the video out to a VVD, a virtual video device. Now, what's a virtual video device? A virtual video device is something that acts like it was a video source, like a webcam. So if I have VidBlaster, the video out module, set to VVD, and I go to Skype and go to options and tools, or whatever it is, tools and options, and then go into video settings, I can select VidBlaster VVD as a video source, as if it were a webcam. So I can take the entire show that you're watching right now, and I can send it to my Skype guest so he sees everything that you see in the show. He sees when it's just him on the shot, or when it's a dual shot with him and me, or when we've got some graphic going, or something like that. He's clued in to what you're seeing in the show. And that's through the VidBlaster VVD as part of the video out module. When I stream that, I use Flash Media Live Encoder as a separate piece of software, separately running. Keep it over here on my second monitor. And I also was using Flash Media Live Encoder, or excuse me, VidBlaster VVD from the video out module as the video source in Flash Media Live Encoder. Now, Flash Media Live Encoder, or FMLE, is a free download from Adobe. If you Google Flash Media Live Encoder, you can find out how to download it. If you haven't already, it's a great little encoder, and it's free. It's a great it's a great price. You know me and how I like to keep things on the cheap. That definitely works for me. So Flash was using, FMLE was using the VVD as a source, and Skype was using the VVD as a source. Now, you know, if you've ever tried to open up two camera modules in VidBlaster and to have the same camera as a source for both modules, you know that the first module gets the camera image and the second module doesn't, because it's already being used by the first one. Well, something similar, I think, is going on with FMLE and Skype. And whichever one got it first sort of claimed it, but the second one got a little of it until the first one hiccuped, or whatever exactly happened, not sure. But that's where the stretched video came in. Now, I'm spending a lot of time on this because I think it could be a problem that you might face in the future, and I've already got a solution. I'm not just telling you the problem. At least I think I have a solution. We'll see. The way to solve the problem is to solve the problem the same way we would with the camera modules. Well, you can't have one camera and two modules. You're going to have two cameras, one for the first one, one for the second one. Well, fortunately, VidBlaster has got built into it an old module called the streamer module. And one of the options in the streamer module is to output to virtual video device. Not VVD now, the actually spelled out virtual video device. And so if you take the streamer and set it to virtual video device and click it and turn it on, Now you have a second video device, separate and distinct from the video out VVD source, for your second program. So today what I did was I took the Flash Media Live encoder and took VidBlaster's video out to VVD and started that and picked that up in Flash. I think the VVD, the VidBlaster VVD in video out does the best job of video. Then I took the Skype and the streamer virtual video device and went to Skype and found it in Skype. Now in Skype, or in any program really, if you're trying to find what that video is called, or what that camera, that virtual camera is called, the one from the streamer is simply called VidBlaster. The one from the video out module is called VidBlaster VVD. So when I looked on Skype, I saw I had a choice between VidBlaster and VidBlaster VVD. Well, VidBlaster VVD was already being used by Flash. Even though I knew I could steal it and use it again, that was the problems that I was bumping into before. So I selected VidBlaster as the Skype video source. And so far, I'm kind of monitoring out of the corner of my eye here. The FMLE video is not squished, and the VidBlaster in Skype is not squished. And in fact, the VidBlaster in Skype, which is coming from the streamer, does a little bit better job, it looks like, in working with Skype. So we'll see. So if you've got the home version, then you've just got the streamer available. There is no video out module with the VVD available in the home version. But you can use the streamer and video, virtual video device as a source for Skype or as a source for Flash Media Live encoder. And you might be able to use it as a source for both of them and get away with it. I don't know. I haven't tried. And boy, I would love to try that, but I can't try it right now because I'm already running VidBlaster in the broadcast version. And I need to put the home version on a laptop so I can check some of these things. Anyway, that's the VVD idea, is that you can now have two virtual video sources from VidBlaster. One is the video out module, if you have Pro, Studio, or Broadcast editions. And the other is the streamer module, regardless of what edition of VidBlaster you have. So that's everything you wanted to know about VVD as it relates to Flash Media Live encoder and Skype. So how about that? Well, that's the story right there. So let's see, where are we going? Looking at my show notes here, and I see that I've covered an hour's worth of material in 35 minutes. Oh well. I did have some questions from last week's show. If you haven't seen it, go back and catch it in the archives on Skype. On YouTube. In fact, all of our shows are on YouTube. Let's see. We're going to have to, somehow we got somebody trying to call in on Skype. We'll have to decline them for the moment. Last week we talked about call screening software and how you could take a regular telephone call on your show by using Blog Talk Radio's program. You'd have to either sign up for the free version or the $40 a month version. I think it limits the number of callers that you can take. And so I had Amnon Nissan and Mike Phillips on, and we actually demonstrated the software by taking some calls. I did not have it correctly hooked up on my end. I had my mixer only halfway hooked up. I was able to hear the calls, but the folks that were calling in weren't able to hear us very well because we didn't have a mic into the program. But that violated my one man, one PC, one awesome broadcast slogan. So I'm struggling with that and how to try to run that piece of software from Blog Talk Radio. I mean, it's really not a piece of software, it's an application inside a browser window. But how to run that on the same PC that I'm running everything else on. And so I'll be experimenting with that and get back to you on that one. I will say, having had it on a laptop that was handy, is that it was certainly less complicated to have a second PC there. But that really is my concept behind this, is to make it as simple as possible and as economical as possible. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about their show, and they were struggling for screen real estate, and they had one monitor, but they wanted to take a Skype guest, and they wanted to see what they were broadcasting and operate VidBlaster all on the same monitor, and that can be really tough. One tip that somebody passed along to me, and I will pass along to you, is that if you're stuck with one monitor, go ahead and make your monitor at its highest resolution. So that way all of the windows are smaller, and you can stick more windows on a screen. No, you're not going to be able to see as much detail in there, but you really don't need to see the detail when you're in the course of a show. I mean, if you're doing a show like mine, where you are the presenter and the operator, here's my keyboard. If you're the presenter and the operator, then you only need to be able to see, kind of quickly where your modules are. You don't need to read the fine print on it. So that's a tip for those folks that are stuck with limited real estate. And also remember the tip that we did, I think 3 weeks ago, where you can, if you want to run VidBlaster in what I call sort of a minimized mode, you can stack modules on top of each other or hide them actually off the screen, so that you just get to see the modules that you're using at that time. So there's another little tip for you too. Tell you what, let's break with tradition, shall we? And let's take a Skype call and see if Skype somehow can not mess up our live stream. So those of you that are watching the live stream, if one of you would like to Skype call me, that would be really, really cool. And we can see what happens to the live stream and see the quality of the Skype picture when it happens. So let's see if I've got a Skype window here that I can take a call on. And looks like we're getting a call here. So let's bring that one in. And let's see, who have we got here? Looks like Richard Cleveland. Richard?
It is, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
I was trying to call you earlier when you didn't have anything else to say, so you hung up on me, but that's okay.
Oh, that was you. Okay.
I was going to try and save you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Very good. Today must not be a good hair day for you, because you look kind of like...
I look like a monkey swinging on a vine.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let me put some video up there. There we go.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Welcome. Enjoyed our chat the other night.
Well, thanks very much.
Okay. Now, let's see. My Skype to you, how does that look? Is it... Your
Skype to me, I'm actually just seeing myself at the moment.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now I'm seeing your screen.
Okay. Do you see... Is my aspect ratio...
Your aspect
decent?
ratio is correct, yes.
Okay. How's my frame rate?
Frame rate's poor, but your aspect ratio is good.
Aha. Okay. So this is, well, I guess you're not going to be able to see what you see at home. Okay, let's try.
No, because you're going to go into an infinity loop here.
Yeah. Yep. So what have you got? About 3 frames a second, looks like.
Yeah, about that.
Okay.
I don't know how my video is coming through to you, but
let's see. That is your video coming through to me. Looks
kind of choppy.
Looks well. the show is 25 frames a second.
Okay.
And let's see in the info section of VidBlaster, we got 25 frames a second there and 25 frames a second there.
Now, I have to ask you, why are you setting it to 25 frames and not 24 or 29.97?
Well, that's a good question. I don't have a reason to set it to 24
Okay.
that I know of. And VidBlaster, when it comes up in its default mode, 25 is the default frame rate. So I just
That's a
left it
PAL
there.
frame rate, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's a PAL. That's a European frame rate. 24 or actually 23.97 or 29.97 are US and universals, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh. Okay. I don't intend to
Because
have
we shoot film in 24 frames a second.
Okay.
Unless, you went and saw The Hobbit, then it was shot in 48 frames per second.
24 frames a second. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. The only reason I've got you lower than me in the screen, let's see if you can see that.
Well, it's good. You cropped out some of the junk in my background.
Well, I cropped out the title from somebody else from last week.
That's okay.
From a couple of weeks ago. Okay, very good. Well, I definitely enjoyed chatting with you earlier in the week about doing a simulcast.
Right.
I think that would be a blast. I'll simulcast my end on VidBlaster. You'll simulcast your end with Wirecast.
Yes,
and
sir.
we'll demo and talk about the strengths and weaknesses of each. I think that can be a lot of fun.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that.
Because, software should be intuitive. And what's intuitive for me is Greek to somebody else, and what's intuitive to them could be Greek to me. And so, this would be a great opportunity for folks to look at both of them side by side with all the trolls and the other folks, kind of out of the loop. There's always a partisan out there that thinks theirs is better than everybody else's. When it's not a matter of better, it's a matter of which is the right tool for the person.
Exactly.
I mean, have you ever tried to cut with left-handed scissors?
As a matter of fact, I have. And certain things I'm ambidextrous at, certain things I'm not. I'm normally right-handed. I write right-handed. I eat right-handed. My wife says I cut my food left-handed. It's kind of weird.
Uh-huh. Well, that's interesting.
But yeah, I can use scissors on both hands. That's not a problem.
Okay. Well, I'm a right-hand scissored guy only, so I would be lost with left-handed scissors. They just don't work for me. But you're probably the exception to the rule. All right. Well, let's see. Let's check in the chat room and see if anybody in the chat room thinks that our video has gotten stretched or changed. Any comments from the guys there? Are we working? Is this working with what it?
It looks to be good now.
Okay. Oh, so you're watching it as well as
I'm watching it
Skype.
as well as streaming. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm watching it on a separate monitor, a whole separate computer, actually.
Okay. Okay. Don't subscribe to the one man, one PC rule. I see. Okay.
Well, no, I don't. And we've kind of discussed this before. I have one machine that I've strictly dedicated for Skype. So when I bring it into my show, it's the cleanest possible video that I can get. It's not hogging resources. As we all know, Skype is a big resource hog. So I like to keep those things as separate as I can, and I'll bring it in through a virtual driver that will send that audio and video over to my machine that takes care of my video streaming.
Gotcha. Well, the feedback from some of the guys in the chat room is that it looks like the video that they're seeing is sharp with no jitters, and that both of our voices are in sync with our video.
That's good.
And the only downside seems to be that the return video to you is at a reduced frame rate.
But that's no big deal.
Well, but if we were going to stream simultaneously, with you picking up my video from Skype and me picking up your video from Skype, then my video would be...
Yes, but we'd be doing it differently because I would be bringing your video into a separate machine. You wouldn't be receiving my video back necessarily from that machine. You would receive my video back from the machine that I'm on now.
Right.
It would be a completely different camera angle.
Yeah, but it would be my video that would be the one that would be trashed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got to figure out how to fix that.
We'll figure that out.
All right.
We'll figure that out. If not for Skype, we can always use Zoom, or we can use any of the other services that are out there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Zoom's good. I like Zoom.
I like Zoom as well. My only issue with it doesn't switch cameras fast enough, but I understand why it does that. And it has a much better audio codec, I think, than Google Hangouts or Google Voice has or anything like that. So,
Martin K is mentioning in the chat room that if we swap the VVDs, he thinks it would work better in terms of the Skype frame rate. So
that could be.
I'll try that on another show and use the streamer virtual video device as the source for Flash.
Now, somebody's asking what res I'm working with. What resolution I'm working with on this machine for the Skype call, or when I do a Wirecast presentation.
Oh, tell us the answer to both questions.
Okay, the frame rate I'm using on here, actually, I don't even know. To be perfectly honest with you. Let me go into options. That should be able to tell me, I would think.
I don't think Skype does anything with frame rate. I think it
I don't
picks
think
up
it
whatever
does
the
either.
camera sends, or modifies it as it has to, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Just looking at my webcam settings, no, it doesn't even tell me what my frame rate is there. So on this end, I couldn't tell you. But when I do frame rates on when I do a program or a broadcast, I'm usually frame rating at 30 frames per second or 29.97. And I think the frame rates are exceptional for going out over the web.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't usually do anything higher than 30 frames per second. If I could, I would dump it right down to 24 frames per second. But because I've got one camera in my studio that will do a Cinema 24, and it gives you a much cleaner look.
Well, and you're not eating up as much bandwidth because that's
right.
6 fewer frames per second.
That's right.
I mean, think of all the frames you're saving. Wow. That's
But you got to consider when we send that
20%.
signal out, I'm only sending a 360p signal out over the web. I'm recording a 720p, but I'm only sending out a 360p.
okay.
And you should be sending out about a 360p as well, are you not?
The stream is a 480.
Okay.
And that's probably what that's what Skype is receiving too, is 480.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And there's some chatter in the chat room that says that sometimes Skype settles the video and it looks better over time. I've noticed that too. I'm not sure if the frame rate has improved at all.
No, it hasn't through the Skype end.
Yeah.
But that's because you're pumping it in and pumping it back out again. So,
Yeah.
you're taking the video in and you're sending it back out to Skype through VidBlaster.
Yep.
And we have that same ability now on the Wirecast side, be able to bring in that Skype signal. I mean, we've always been able to bring in any type of signal that we want.
Okay, time to take another caller here, folks. And
all right then.
I'm just teasing.
You are catching up technology-wise.
I'm just teasing you. It's funny.
But now we can send it back.
That's good. Well, the Wirecast. Oh golly, what is that remote desktop?
Oh, you're talking about desktop presenter.
Desktop presenter. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It works similar to the way that VidBlaster's program works, where you can bring in other sources from other computers, does it not?
Uh-huh.
What is the VidBlaster version of Desktop Presenter?
There's not one in that same sense. But there's the RTSP, RTMP input module that allows you to pick up stream from somewhere else.
Okay, so you
It won't
couldn't
pick up a
necessarily
desktop per
bring
se.
in a desktop from a secondary computer through Wirecast.
You can. It's not as easy as Desktop Presenter and Wirecast.
I got you.
Desktop Presenter and Wirecast is bing bang boom and it's done. With VidBlaster, you would have to use a second piece of software like VLC to capture
Okay.
it and make it available as an image to VidBlaster. I know Martin Kay has done that and has got a nice demo on that in the VidBlaster wiki of how to
Right.
use it like that. But it's cumbersome. It's not the way it's intended. Again, it's somebody taking building blocks and building it up as opposed to something that was custom designed specifically for that purpose. Yep.
I
All
see.
right. Well, cool, man. Well, let's see if we can grab another call. Somebody that's a VidBlaster user.
You bet.
But it
All
was,
right, us Wirecast guys will go away now.
Now, there's great synergy. Great synergy there.
I'll see you in a little bit.
Good. Thanks, Richard. All right. So the phone lines are open here, folks. If you've got a second and want to dial in, I'd love to catch your call and to see what you've got to say about it. Let's see. Let's pull that Skype audio down for just a second. Hat tip while I'm thinking about it to Mike Phillips, and I don't know if Mike's watching live or he might watch in YouTube, but his work in helping me with the audio has just been really valuable because I've got the ability to receive audio in my mixer from Skype's audio only, and I can control that just by reaching out and pulling up and down the button marked Skype. I've got the ability to control my modules in VidBlaster separately in terms of the player audio, and then I've got the ability to control my audio from you separately as well. And so it's really been nice to be able to separate those out. And again, this is all on one PC. And I'm not even using a separate sound card per se, but rather the Behringer UCA 202, which is a USB connection to the PC that has a little breakout box at the end of it that allows for stereo audio in, stereo audio out. So it becomes a virtual second sound card so that I can direct the Skype audio to that, and then that comes into the mixer as a separate input. So I've got the ability to take that as a separate input as well. So I'd love to hear a call from somebody in Skype here if you've got a question or a comment or an idea for the contest. Of course, you may not want to share your contest idea because somebody else might grab it and do it too. And I would mention for the contest that we would negotiate on the rights to the ownership of the video. I know in a lot of contests they say, oh, all the video rights belong to the contest holders. But in this case, we could negotiate who belongs to what long term. So let's see. I've got somebody that's just requested my Skype address. So perhaps they will send me a Skype address request and be dialing in shortly. The contest, remember the contest ends. It's a February contest, and so we will announce the winner March 5th, and of course we'll need a few days after the end of February to review all the videos and figure out how we're going to make it. And somebody suggested that we let's see, looks like we may have a caller coming in here. We'll let their call get established. But somebody suggested that we do a credit for folks that already own VidBlaster license. And, I think that's a pretty good idea. I think we can do that. Let's get this video set up for our caller coming in here. and see if we can't take you. And looks like we've got Dr. Charles Campbell on the line.
In living color.
All right. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be anywhere at my age.
Yeah. I mean, what is this about age? I mean, what are you, all of 76? Gee whiz.
Yeah, if I were only 76. No, I'm kidding. Your picture is very pixelated in Skype. But
Yes.
that's okay. I've got you on another screen.
Okay.
And the other one. It was a lot of fun watching you take the virtual set I sent you to check out. And as I said, green cloth on a table. You put your hands on top. Looks like you're actually sitting there.
That would be the ticket. It definitely would. It definitely would. One of the things that will help clear up the video, since your PC is now receiving video stream from the show and also from Skype, it's probably maximizing whatever your download speed is. You're sending just video up with Skype, but you're receiving video from the show and video from Skype. So that can cause the Skype to pixelate a little bit. Yours is a little pixelated on this end too. It all depends on your video stream. We've got 50 down and 5 up here, which leaves me plenty of overhead for downloads.
I've got four down and 0.7 up.
Yeah.
It's not Wi-Fi. It's not hooked into the wall.
Yep. Well, what's the good word? What are you up to these days? How's your project coming along?
Oh, very, very good. In fact, have a new corporation, TELUS Broadcasting Company, TELLUS, which is a play on words. Tell us about broadcasting. Or TELUS, which is a Greek god, or Roman god, excuse me, of the Mother Earth and plenty. So I plan on having plenty.
All right.
In fact, I'm doing a shoot tomorrow for the Chamber of Commerce for a new program, 30-minute program that I am producing for the Chamber, and it's going on cable as well as on the internet.
Outstanding. And this is the bios for the Chamber members.
Yeah, 5-minute talking about interviews. There's 5-minute interviews, and it should work out quite well. I'm also doing a couple of workshops on internet TV. The last workshop I had like 300 people in it a couple of years ago, talking about internet radio. If I get 20 people, I'd be happy as a clam. But I'm using you as a sample.
Oh dear.
Same thing with the Sunday morning show that I spend 5 hours on every Sunday.
That is a marathon. Folks, he's referring to Computers 2K Now from Amnon Nissan and Mike Phillips, computers2know.com, Sunday mornings, 9 o'clock Eastern, where they say they talk tech, but I think they just talk.
They talk. That reminds me of old-fashioned, what's the word I'm looking for? Old-fashioned radio. Sitting around a Cracker Barrel. But I learned a great deal listening to it. And I'll be talking to Richard after the show. I want to find out. He asked me if I had another virtual set that I can lend him. Since I paid for this, you can't use it, but you can test it and play for it and let me know, because I can write it up in my column.
Well, you've got something to write up about today, is how you can do a side-by-side video and you can star not once but twice.
That's interesting. That was interesting. It's the thing I'm interested in that is the zoom in part. You have one camera, two different views. I still haven't figured out how that works.
One camera, 2 different views.
Remember, close up, you mentioned it,
Yep.
using it, and one far away. So
Yep.
you click back and forth and make it look like you're using 2 cameras.
Well, and in talking with Richard, I think it was Richard I was talking to the other day, where they were talking about taking one camera shot with two presenters in it, presenter number 1 and presenter number 2, and then using a PIP to capture each one of them. And so now you had, from one camera, you had the ability to build several different shots. You had the group shot, you had a single close-up shot here, you had a single close-up shot here, and then you had your virtual set that was configured for that. Yeah. And so with one camera, you could have 3 or 4 or 5 different camera shots. So I think that would be cool. Now it's going to have to be probably 1080p, because you're going to be taking you're going to be essentially copying a part of it, and when you do that, the resolution of the part you copy won't be as high. It will probably be more akin to a standard resolution at that part. But playing with it definitely tells you what works and what doesn't work.
That's how you learn. That's how I learned Photoshop. I played with it till I knew all the ins and outs.
That's right. Play with it until you can break it.
Yeah, I'll be using Bamboozer unless you think of something better to use.
Bamboozer's good. It's free. It runs a little video ad at the beginning of the show, but it's not as intrusive as Ustream.
How do you record that? I noticed in VidBlaster there's a record module.
There is. Bamboozer automatically records it, so it's available if you want to link to it later, or if you want to record it locally on your own hard drive. It's as simple as putting a recorder module on the screen and clicking record, and then click stop and save when you're done.
Oh, I think I can handle that. I have to check it out.
Yep. And when you're ready for a paid service, we use Decast. I'm on the month-to-month basis, which is $29. But if you pay for it a year in advance, you can get it as cheap as $19 a month. And then somebody else in the chat room is mentioning Justin.tv, which is a free service, an ad-based service like Ustream and Bamboozer.
Yeah, that's the problem. These chamber people want local stuff on, not programs from Ustream.
Sure.
I use Ustream for one of my clients, and she doesn't care if it pops in there with a video occasionally.
Right.
But it's a good service. I mean, she has about 10-minute little films up there.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the key.
I want mine to look as clean as yours in that wide aspect.
Well, we can only hope. We can only hope. Charles, hang on the line. Don't go anywhere. No
place to go.
Okay, hang on. So, folks, we're going to wind up today's call, or today's show. It's been a real treat to bring it to you. A little bit of a smorgasbord. Remember to enter the contest. Got to have it in February so that we can judge it and have the winners back March 5th. And then if you missed some part of the show and you want to catch it later, then by all means, catch us on YouTube. We'll be there for sure. So have a great day and a great evening. And we'll see you next time on That VidBlaster Guy. Oops, now I got to get my my post-roll credits ready here. And here we go.